Alright, back with another video. This video is going to be focusing on how to properly and safely break open a BGS case and a PSA case. I have examples of PSA cases that we'll look at here in a minute, but we'll do a actual breaking open of a BGS case, and because it is even a little bit more difficult than PSA. Once you see this, you'll be able to translate this into the newer style PSA cases, and then we'll also cover the older PSA cases. So you'll need a few things to crack this open. So here's the different things we'll need. These are some heavy-duty cutters, like this. These are some wire cutters. Safety glasses so you don't hurt yourself. A small screwdriver. And then a larger screwdriver. So first thing is let's get some eye protection on here. And what we're going to do with this slab, what we're trying to do is around this edge is the seal. So this edge right here, this seal, is what mainly holds this card together. There's right here in this portion of the slab is where they kind of vibrate it into place, and then they use an adhesive basically to seal it. That seal, like I said, it runs around the sides and it also runs into the edge. So what you want to do to alleviate the amount of pressure that we're going to put on the seals itself is we just want to remove the edge first, and that'll make it a lot easier to pop the slab apart. Now I've seen different ways that people do this. One of them is they take the wire cutters, they'll go to the center, they'll just snip the center, and the whole slab splits apart, and then the soft sleeve you can just pull out of it. That's not a good idea with, I mean, in this case this is a $5 card, but with an expensive card, not a good idea. Very, very not safe for anything of value. So that one's not good. The other one that I've seen recently, actually, guys have posted videos where they'll crack the case. They'll break it in a couple of places along the top here. Get the corner, and then they'll basically just kind of peel it away in sections, which is also very, very dangerous with a card of any type of value. And I'll get into that as we take these apart. So let's start off with these flat wire cutters like we see here. And what we're going to do is basically grab the edge. Okay, so we're going to grab the edge on the top right about there. And what we're trying to do is we're not squeezing. We're not squeezing down. All we're doing is holding it, and then we're just going to break away. We're just going to break away these little pieces. Okay, it's going to look like this. We're going to go all the way around the perimeter of the slab. Okay, so let's do this here. This takes a little bit longer, but trust me, it pays off in the end to do it this way. It's a lot safer. You can do this with cards of very high value and feel a lot more confident in doing this. It's a little bit tougher once you get to the corners here. So once you get to that corner, what I like to do is actually just go to the bottom, and it kind of takes the whole corner with it. So I'm going to grab the bottom now. Okay, and it left a little part of that corner, so now we can come back and get this. So there we go. So let's get this edge on the bottom here. This video is going to be a little longer than I would like it to be, but it's the best way to show this, and if it takes a little time to show you guys the right way and the safer way, then I think it's worth it. So not too bad. We're just kind of making our way around the slab here. Making our way around. Okay, now all we have left is the top. Okay, and you'll notice again, I'm not snipping down. I'm just using it to grab it, and then you'll watch it. It's just basically to pry it away. And sometimes you'll slip off, and you may have to come back. And if it kind of chips like this, where it's hard to grab it because you have this section of the slab that's a little bit harder to grab, what I do is just come back to where you can grab it, get a little bit deeper, because when you're at the top up here, you're not as concerned about the card because you're more towards the top. So you can be a little bit more aggressive with this top section to get everything broken away. So let's see if we can grab this portion right here. It might slide off a little bit, and that's okay. Okay, so there's pretty much all of everything off of the top. And again, you'll see pieces kind of fly off here, so you got to be really careful with the making sure you're wearing safety glasses, because this does break away pretty good. So that basically has removed everything from around the edges of the slab. Okay, so the next step is we've got to be able to get in here with the screwdrivers. Okay, now sometimes when you break these away, in fact, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this because it has all these broken pieces on it. I'm going to get this out of the way, and I will get a new one in here so that we can do this without all the broken pieces. Another area to put this. So with this, what we're going to do is we're just going to, sometimes you have enough where you've broken away the edge where you can get the screwdriver in there, but what I like to do is really get a nice area where you can get up under there a lot easier. So what I do is just take the wire cutters that we've got here, and I'm just going to pop away the corner. Okay, and you just want to kind of get that tip in there, because that's where a lot of the, so we basically just chipped away that corner. Okay, that'll allow us to get our screwdriver in there. We're basically just trying to get an area right here to get inside there. Okay, and just to make sure that we release the other side, because I don't want any hang-ups with this slab, we're just going to take this corner and snip that too. Okay, so at this point we're going to get up under and in between. So we're going to get inside here. This is a little bit tough to do on camera, but okay. So I know I can get the screwdriver in there because I can feel that I'm able to pry it apart. So here's where you got to be very, very careful. And I've done this a couple of times and have damaged the card. And a lot of people don't pay attention to this when they're taking these slabs apart. Is as soon as you start prying up this top portion of the slab, you have to make sure it can't go back down the way it came. Okay, because what happens is you're prying up the top of the slab, and small fragments or little pieces of the slab will fall and sit on the surface of the card, and if the slab comes back down, it'll put an indent to your card and damage your card. Okay, so what I try to do here is I'll use the small screwdriver to get things started. I'll pry it away, and I'll hold things with my fingers, keeping that slab away from the card. Okay, now because we've broken away these edges, This is going to make it a lot easier. There's not really you're not gonna need much force or pressure to be able to get this apart, but you have to make sure that even the small amount of force that's there, you don't want it to push back on the card. Okay, so let's get inside here with the first we're going to get our big screwdriver ready, because we're going to need that too. So we're going to pop in here with our small screwdriver. Okay, now once we've gotten in there, we're prying up. Okay, and you'll notice this is coming apart very easily. Okay, now once you get to this point, a lot of people will, I'm going to pull the label out of there. So you'll notice, see how I'm keeping the slab front so it can't fall back in on itself. Okay, some people, as they're breaking apart the slab, they'll let that top portion come back down, and that's what gets you into trouble. So at this point, once I have it here, and there's not much force, it's just my fingers are just holding it up, the bigger screwdriver is going to help you with leverage. Okay, so we're going to get in here with that. Move this little one out of the way. And what the other reason I like this is you never have to get towards the card, because if you do it a forceful way, what ends up happening is you get the screwdriver dangerously close to the card, which is definitely something you don't want to do. So this takes very little force, and you'll notice I've got two fingers here, finger and thumb. That's all I'm going to use. Okay, and you'll see that this pries up. Okay, now at this point everything is broken away. It's that easy to pry this apart once you've broken away those edges. Okay, so at this point I'm going to keep, see if you'll notice I still have everything apart. Okay, now fingers wise, watch this. Okay, this simple, it's that gentle to pull away the slab. It's really that simple. Okay, so once you have that, then you've got your card. And at this point, you can use some scissors and just cut out the top. Okay, just go along that very carefully, not to cut the card, but cut the sleeve, and then you can remove the card. Now sometimes where they've sealed the card in here, it's very, very close, and it's hard to get the card out because you're trying to get your fingers in there to pull the card out of there. So what you can do, if at all possible, is to cut the top, and then if you can, to cut the side. Okay, and that will allow you to fillet this whole corner open, and you can very carefully grab the card by the side or by the top, and then remove the card this direction. So it's a lot safer. Okay, so taking out of the sleeve, you guys can do it any method you want. That's what I recommend, but that's how simple it is to get your BGS slab apart. So moving on to PSA, the new PSA slabs. Okay, so here's my my trusty Alvin Adams. Okay, so the new PSA slabs have the same thing around the sides. Okay, they seal it, and then it overlaps, and you have the same seal around the sides. So what I did is removed all of the seal around the sides, broke all of that away, just like we did on the BGS slab. Now, PSA slabs are a little bit different, because if you notice, in a BGS slab, you have the BGS slabs are a little bit wider. So when you're breaking the edges away on a PSA slab, you can be a little bit aggressive, but you got to really pay attention a little bit more as you break away that the slab, that you don't get too much and send a crack in and damage the card. So you want to break it away, but you want to just take note of that. Okay. The other thing is with PSA is these are not sealed nearly as much as BGS slabs. So you can break away one corner and get away with it. I still prefer doing two corners if you can, but in this particular instance, I wanted to show it with just one corner. It will still work. Okay, so once you've broken away all your edges, then you would come in here again with your screwdriver, same way we did before with the BGS slab. So you'd work in your screwdriver. Okay, so once you get that in there, it would break apart. Same process. You'll notice how I'm still holding things apart. Okay, now with this particular slab, obviously with PSA, there is no inner sleeve. So with no inner sleeve, you've really got to pay attention to not let that slab come back down, and you've got to pay attention to where that card is. You want to keep it centered in the slab, because you don't want it sliding around and moving around and then get pinched in there. Okay, so again, these come apart very easy, almost the same, if not even a little bit easier than the BGS slabs. Okay, so it just comes apart like this. You can use your fingers and your hands, and it's that simple. Piece cake. So any of the newer PSA slabs that have that edge around the side, break away all the edges, snip a corner, 2 is recommended, pop away the top without letting it come back onto the card, and you'll be in good shape. So lastly, I wanted to focus on the older style PSA slabs. Okay, so these are kind of the same idea, but these older slabs, you'll see that there's a seam that runs around this way. Okay, so you're not able to break away the edges on these slabs. Now these come apart even easier than the newer PSA slabs, so it's really not that difficult to break these apart. You don't want to cut the top like seen in other videos. Don't break away sections. Just cut off a corner. Okay, and then you're going to work in your screwdriver like you see here. Let me make sure I can get in there real quick. Okay, work in your small screwdriver. Okay, and then at this point, you could do it with your fingers, but on these older slabs, because they are kind of, you're breaking apart that kind of that seal a little bit differently. I really like to get that bigger screwdriver, get some leverage, get in here like this, pry up, and as you're prying up, slide down the slab, okay, and make sure it can't fall back on the card, okay, and then once you get your finger and your thumb in there, then you can pry up a little bit more, work your way down, pry up a little bit more, and you don't want this slab to break. Okay, so you're just very carefully lifting it up, and you're supporting it with your finger and your thumb as you're working your way down. Okay, all the way like this, and then once you get to this section, then you can complete it. You want to hold down the bottom part of the slab and then take the top part and then break that away. Okay, you don't want to drop this top part of the slab onto the card. So once you lift that up, I really like curling my finger under here and getting my thumb and side of my thumb in here. And then, you can basically just pull everything away this way and you have your card. Okay. The last thing I want to mention is with the 2 PSA slabs is that you will get small fragments of the slab that will break away and fall onto the surface of the card or around the card. Okay, so once you take the card out of there, let me show you how I recommend to do that. Okay, so you have the card, it's sitting in here. This applies with both types of PSA slabs. Okay, what I like to do is make sure that I've cleared the card, that there's no debris on the surface. Okay, and with gloves, or if you prefer to use your bare hands, it depends on how you like to handle your cards. What I like to do is just very carefully put my fingers over the card this way, and just enough to hold the card in place, and then very carefully turn it over. Okay, lift that portion of the slab away, and the card is sitting in your hand very carefully so that you can grab the edges and pick up the card. Okay, now with a very expensive card, I would handle that differently. I'm just showing you a general idea of how that would be done. All right, so hopefully that is helpful and shows you guys some different ideas in a much safer way than other guys are showing on YouTube. Hopefully you guys are able to learn from this. Like, share, comment on the video, and thank you for watching.